I cannot tell you how many retirement parties I've been going to or celebrations really in the last year. And these are retirement parties of people that have been here 30, 40 years. Somewhere around 300 to 400 employees are going to be leaving our workforce in the next 5 to 7 years due to baby boomers leaving this organization. This notion of younger generations coming in and our baby boomers leaving the workforce is a huge issue for this organization. What we don't want to do, and this is where succession planning comes in, we don't want to have these people leaving the workforce and not have that knowledge transfer. We've got to be very, very diligent about that. Supervisors said the number one issue that they need help with is how to deal with some of these generational issues amongst their workforce. You'll hear we have 4 generations right now going on in our workforce. The response to that is to have Dr. Nelson here. When my assistant, Tawny Gilmore, said you've got to go over to your 9 o'clock meeting and they're going to talk about intergenerational kinds of things, she says you need to pay attention. So Tawny said maybe it will help us get along better and work better together. So let me tell you a little bit about Dr. Nelson. She is an internationally recognized trainer, keynote speaker, and consultant. She specializes in gender communication, conflict management, dealing with difficult people, communication skills, and sexual harassment discrimination. Dr. Nelson's professional background includes 10 years of teaching in the Department of Communication at the University of Colorado Boulder. For 30 years, she has trained and consulted for a wide variety of government and Fortune 50 companies in 48 states, Australia, Great Britain, and Canada. Among them are Xcel Energy, PricewaterhouseCoopers, American Board of Trial Attorneys, AT&T, Honeywell, Hewlett-Packard, IBM, Upjohn Pharmaceuticals, Pentax, U.S. Marine Corps, U.S. Forest Service, and the Department of Justice. She holds a BA, MA, and PhD in communication. She conducted her postdoctoral work at the Warnborough College in Oxford, England. Did I say that right? Her award-winning research is cited in such books as More Power to You and Communication Between the Sexes. Dr. Nelson won the Teaching Excellence Award at the University of Colorado Boulder. She was designated Woman of the Year by Business and Professional Women, and she also served as president of the Organization for the Research on Women in Communication. She was awarded a grant from the state of California, quote, Teaching and Learning Council for her excellence in teaching. I also understand she was recently, over the last few days, up at working with Anheuser-Busch. And so I know she has lots of stories. And again, I'm looking forward to, in particular, some of the intergenerational work. I think we've got a lot to learn from you. So let's give her a warm welcome, please.
Thank you. Thanks, Darren. Darren does have one thing wrong in his introduction. The baby boomers are not retiring. We can't afford it. Right? We're here to stay. Does everybody hear that? We're here to stay. Where is my tribe? Raise your hand. Everybody look around. This is your single largest generation in the workplace, the baby boomer. Now, why is that? Let's just look at that for a moment. Never before in American history, and when I say that, we're really an infant compared to other countries, aren't we? We're, what, roughly 230 years old? So in our short 230-year history, never, ever before have we had so many generations working together at one time. Anybody feel the pain? Are you reminded of it? So let me tell you my story. I just finished my second book, Prentice Hall. It'll be on the bookstore shelves in September. I am imaging Oprah holding my book up. Then you will never see me again. No, I like what I do. I'll keep doing it. I'll just charge more. So I did a big mistake. I asked my old-time colleague of 25 years, and it's the second book on gender. My first, You Don't Say, is in 6 languages. I'm happy to say I hope this goes to 6 languages. And I did a big mistake. I asked my longtime colleague, Dr. Claire Brown. She did the corporate thing. I did the entrepreneur thing. She did the AT&T Lucent Avaya thing. Retired, and she's also a PhD in communication. She used to hire me to do training. So I said, Claire, do this second book on gender with me. She said, okay, and then I started thinking, oh my God, we're the same. We're baby boomers. We're the same. And I thought, it is not only going to be, and we know that it'll be 80% of women, because women buy these books, men don't. You should, men, but you don't. That's another seminar. And I said, Claire, it's like we're getting into groupthink. We're only getting the baby boomer perspective on gender. So I said, we need some X or Y input. So at the Daily Camera, our little newspaper in Boulder, is Amy Heckel. She's 30 years old. And Amy writes columns and articles. And she asked me to write a monthly column, Relationship Rescue, for the Woman's Magazine, which is published by the Camera. So we have a relationship, right? I said, you know what, Claire? Here's our opportunity to get, you know, an Xer perspective. So I invited Amy to read every page of our book and to give us input and to provide Generation X stories. Is everybody with me so far? Well, then I open up the newspaper a week later, and there's an entire article about her new full back tattoo. I'm not done. So I went, okay, I can do this. I mean, you know what I do with my X and Y children when they come home from college? I almost want to say, strip naked, I'm looking for a tattoo. You know, every time they come home from school, please God, don't have a tattoo. And I'm in a college town like you are, and there are tattoos everywhere. Okay. I'm a baby boomer. Only sailors. Can anybody relate? Only sailors got tattoos. Okay. A lot of my clients struggle with this, with dress code and the whole thing. So about a month later, Amy and I go to meet for breakfast. And I'm sitting there, you know, in the morning sometimes you're fuzzy, and she's sitting a breakfast distance away from me, right? And I notice this like little red ball here. And I'm interacting with her, and my first book is about nonverbal. I'm very visually and nonverbally oriented. Nonverbal is one of my big areas in communication. So I look at people. I look at how they dress. I look at their facial expressions. So we're interacting, and you can tell I really like her. And I love her writing style. And you're going to see it reflected in my new book. So we're sitting there talking, and I'm so distracted. You know, like Gwen has a necklace on. And you look at it, but I know what it is. But I can't figure this thing out because there's a red ball about right here. And, you know, I couldn't get like this. What the, you know what? I couldn't do that to her. So I'm saying. Week later, another article by her, how she got a, this is new for me, sternum piercing. Yes. Tom, my sentiments exactly. And the whole time, women in here, you know, women know this, men don't know this, but women in here know, you know how you can put necklaces on like fish line? You know how some women do that? I kept thinking, that must be what that is. I couldn't figure it out. So I went, sternum piercing. Now I thought I had seen, I've been to Waterworld with my kids. I thought I've seen every place, and I don't want to see all the places where people can get piercings.